just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around, who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show. I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Well, I hate my shadows.
I know. We had a lot going on
You
today.
could have let me know.
I didn't
Can we fix the lighting?
I don't know how.
While I start talking.
We got a camera down
You can
over
put
there.
You can put the light on behind you, maybe. See if that helps.
Okay.
While I'm talking.
All right.
Welcome back
You
to
get
my
to
club.
it.
Today is Monday, November 20th. Happy Thanksgiving. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year. Huh?
Ooh, the boogeyman.
I know, I don't like the shadow. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I love Thanksgiving week. One, because, you get to be with family and friends, and it's time to give thanks. Hey, Abby, I think you were right about the other light.
Yep.
I think we do need it.
Broken.
That was on my fault. That was my bad. I know, you're right. My favorite week of the year. You have family,
Those damn kids and their birthday party.
You have thanks. You have football. Apparently, the only thing that matters in Thanksgiving is family, football, and food, is what I was told.
Yep.
Like, if there's football, I can't celebrate Thanksgiving. I can't watch football on Thanksgiving because I have Christmas decorations up before Thanksgiving, is what I was told, which I think is false. I think that's false. But
It's a hell of a take.
it is a hell of a thing. I have my Christmas decorations up. I'm excited, but I also love Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. This is going to be the only show we have for the week because obviously it is Thanksgiving. I'm going to let everybody that is part of the show go and hang out with their families for the rest of the week. Mitch is not here today because he is with his in-laws in West Virginia. Or I guess not part of his in-laws. I guess his wife's family. Part of his family lives in West Virginia, so he's going to go do that whole deal for the week.
Pulled a fast one on us. Didn't tell us he was already gone.
That's okay. I didn't know actually, but now I know.
Yeah.
Of course. We have a big show. Obviously, it's Monday. Keith Accardo from the G team back in.
We're back.
The studio. Talk about everything law. Give us some law education. Talk about football. It's also Moffitt Method Mondays. They are back. We had a week off from talking with Coach Tommy Moffitt. He was tracking down some big old deer. I heard his son killed all the deer, not him. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on the show because I'm getting some conflicting reports about what happened
did
here.
what?
So I think we need to clear the clear the
Air
and get the record straight about what exactly happened up there in Missouri, and talk about his trip and talk about football and talk about really anything we want to talk about because that's what the show's about.
Foot injuries.
Foot injuries, potentially. LSU goes to 8-3 on the year with a 56-14 win over Georgia State. Obviously, the win is not I think everybody expected the win, right? But I think what everybody was excited to see was, hey, what is Jayden Daniels is very much in the Heisman race.
Big time.
Malik Nabers is very much in the Biletnikoff race.
Best offense in the country.
100%. And so they wanted to see, okay, what's going to happen because, Bo Nix had his day, and they're trying to give it to these other guys. Well, Jayden Daniels says, hold up, wait a minute. I'm going to go. Look at our guy.
That's right.
Our guy's always here. Our guy's back.
You're my boy.
And Jayden goes out there and puts up 8 touchdowns. Plays a lot longer than I think any of us thought. Look at our guy.
Hell yeah. I don't know what he's
I
telling
wish we
me.
had a camera that we could see this guy out in the.
He's gone. He kind of makes me nervous.
He was sitting in front of Shay's just chilling just
I
now.
saw him smoking the
with his
pipe.
with
Yeah.
his peace pipe.
Good for him.
Yep, he's hanging.
Probably
out,
not tobacco.
Living his best life.
He is.
He's living his best life.
Every day.
Every day. Malik goes over 150, I think, yards receiving. He's on pace for 1,400, 1,500 yards receiving. I don't think it's any question. He's probably the best. He is the best receiver in the country. He's moved his draft stock up from the end of the first round to probably early first round. Brian Thomas moved his draft stock up from I don't know where it was to probably the first round now. So LSU's offense is doing what they need to do. One more game this weekend against Texas A&M at home. Obviously a big rivalry game. Obviously everybody knows what happened last year. Texas A&M kind of ruined LSU's chances for a playoff. Chance at the playoff had LSU going out and beating Georgia. So A&M comes here, no coach. A lot of stuff going around. Very dangerous team because of a good defense. LSU's offense number one in the country. I think this game is going to be the Heisman game for Jayden. Jayden's going to go out there, put up his numbers, and win the Heisman after that game. But it'll be interesting to see. It'll be fun to see. Obviously, there's a lot of drama around
everything.
LSU athletics right now. And that drama, I think, is self-created, not from the LSU coaches. I think from the media and from speculation and from everybody's got the Twitter fingers now, right? So everybody wants to say something. They want to air their stuff out on social media, whether it's true, not true, good, not bad, or whatever. It's out there, so then people see it and they start speculating, and then, rumor mill runs wild. So we're going to talk about all of that. But before we get into that, we are going to turn this over to our friend, Keith Accardo. Keith, we were in the same area on Saturday watching the game. Now, we weren't in the same room, but we were about 2 miles apart from each other on the water in Dularge. And what do you like from the Tigers? Obviously, the defense at this point is what it is.
Yeah.
They gave up 14 points early. It did not look great. And then they kind of settled in and made it. They played better. Offense did what they do. They scored in every possession. I think actually they scored in their last 13 drives.
Yeah.
They scored touchdowns in their last 13 drives. Think about that.
Punted 18
That's
times
insane.
this year.
That's unbelievable. So obviously they just keep raising the bar for themselves. The defense, had some things they probably wish they could have done better. They ended up playing okay. At the end of the day, what did you see? What did you like? And at this point, are you just, hey, how many yards are we going to get offensively?
Right. I mean, I ended up actually pointing it north, and I made it to the game on Saturday after we beat them down.
Wow. You told me you were going to do that.
I told you I was going to make it.
I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
So we were not in the same area, actually.
No, we went and killed our birds in the morning, and I went back to Death Valley at night.
Good for you.
Wow.
That's a real fan.
The atmosphere was pretty good. I mean, but obviously you hate seeing the defense get punched in the mouth on their opening drive again. I mean, it's like, how many times are we going to see that happen? And offensively, like you said, it's how many yards can we put up? It's like watching a video game. It's insane.
It is one of those things that you don't know if you. I don't want to say ever going to see again, because we said that after 19.
Right.
Now you're seeing an offense that is historical again, and but it's if you're going to have a defense the way you're going to have it, it's nice to see the offense be able to do those types of things. Now, obviously, they're going to have their biggest challenge, I think, of the year this next game.
Absolutely.
And A&M's offense has the ability to move the ball on LSU's defense. What do you want to see this weekend? Are you going to be at the game? It's 11 a.m. This is going to test you.
This is the one that I'm not making.
Wow.
I'm going to be out of town hunting this weekend. So
Big hunt trip.
Yeah, this is a yearly hunting trip that we make, so I'm not going to make it this weekend. But, as a program right now, A&M's kind of in a little bit of disarray, with the coaching moves and things like that. I want to see us step on their throat and keep it going. I want to see them in total shambles.
Yeah.
Because they're a program that is going to compete with us for recruits. Obviously they've got a insane backing.
A lot of Baton Rouge guys on A&M's team. They can have a free – now, obviously, you have the portal, but if guys have already used their portal, it's free reign for anybody because the coach left.
Right.
So now this is
Could make a big impression on A&M and some of this.
Come on back home, baby.
Absolutely. And look, I want all our dogs here.
Yeah.
No doubt. I love watching the Louisiana kids play for our state school. And, A&M's one of those teams that I personally just can't stand because there's always, there's this big hype about them, and they're frauds.
I heard you had a full ride to go in A&M as a Yale leader. That's what I heard.
As a Yale leader.
That's what I heard.
That may be one of the strangest things in all of college sports.
I thought you were going to go a different word. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. There's some words for it, that's for sure.
A little bit of self-control there
it,
that has got to be one of the weirdest things.
I mean, it's unbelievable to me.
Oh, those people are into it.
It's unbelievable to me, and I'm with you. A&M just feels like they're always trying to prove something, like, oh, we're just as good, or this. Like, no, not really. Like, yes, you're A&M, and like it's a big school, and like you have a lot of money and you have a lot of resources, but you really haven't won anything.
Right. Ever.
So, like, this is kind of their game like that, and they're going to come out here and they're going to try to do what they did last year and ruin the season. But I just don't see it happening this year.
No, I want us to be foot on the gas pedal the whole way. Like, if we've got the chance to embarrass them, embarrass them.
Well, here's the deal. With Jayden Daniels and Malik Nabers and the offensive line and Brian Thomas and all these guys putting up these numbers, I feel like you're going to see that because you saw it with Georgia State. I mean, they were throwing the ball until 6 minutes left in the game. Like, you're going to see that against A&M, especially after losing last year. This is a game this is the last game that they have before the Heisman Trophy. For all the awards, so I think that you're going to see that, which I hope. Defensively, obviously, it is what it is, but I felt like after those first couple drives, I felt like the defense at least flew to the ball, and they were at least felt like they were playing hard, right? Which I can get.
You could see the effort was there.
Yeah.
Even there was a couple plays, and I did like seeing the two young cornerbacks play. If we're gonna.
Stamps had a bunch of tackles. I think he led
8 tackles.
Yeah.
I think Spates was the only guy that had more tackles than him. Now, typically, it's not what you want to see from a cornerback.
Right.
Unless they're coming up and taking
But the thing was, it's like, okay, now we got a cornerback. We finally see a cornerback that can run fit. And that was nice because we haven't seen that all year.
And you saw Toviano was kind of flying around. They're going to have some mistakes, but they're playing hard.
Toviano gets a little nasty.
Yeah,
he gets a little nasty.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a little attitude about himself. Which
is all good. So it's encouraging to see those guys.
Absolutely.
Right? It's encouraging to see them get to play and play hard and play well. But you're not here to just talk about football.
Right.
You're here to talk about the law. And G-Team, Gordon.
Educate.
I never understood the lights under a truck. I just never understood the whole,
what is it called? Neon?
On the rims? Is that necessary?
Is that illegal?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Get him.
What?
It's
illegal.
It's illegal.
You said legal.
No, I think it's
illegal.
You can get a ticket for that. I'm pretty sure.
It's got no strokes. Okay.
Well, let's see. You know what's legal and what's illegal because you are an attorney for the G-Team and for Get Gordon. You're here to talk about the law. What are we talking about today? We've talked about a whole bunch of different topics. What are we talking about today, this Monday on November 20th?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about something that we see a lot of as personal injury attorneys, and that is whiplash injuries. Now,
what is a whiplash injury?
Yeah, so let me get into that a little bit.
Yep, please.
A whiplash injury is an injury to the neck or back that occurs, in situations where, for example, you're rear-ended or there's some type of impact from another vehicle, something of that nature, where your body shifts forward initially and then whips back. Okay, so it's an injury to your spinal cord. Okay, or not necessarily your spinal cord, but the spine.
Yeah.
And in your spine, you have 24 vertebrae. Okay, so we've got 7 cervical vertebrae. That's in your neck.
Nobody knows that you minored in biology.
Well, I majored in kinesiology.
There you go, even better.
So that's
not only are you a lawyer, but you're a doctor too.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of my thing. I do my best to use my kines background in order to really understand where my clients are coming from. So, we've got 7 vertebrae in the cervical spine. We've got 12 in the thoracic. That's the mid-back. And then we've got our lumbar spine, okay? And that's your lower back. Now, in between each of these vertebrae, it's like a cushion-type tissue called an intervertebral disc, okay? And how these whiplash injuries work, and I've got a little prop for us, so we can see, initially, like we talked about, your body is pushed forward in these injuries.
Got it.
So what happens there is, the front of your vertebrae gets squeezed together. Okay? They're compressed in the front. Now, obviously, what this is going to do is your disc, which is used as a shock absorber, is going to end up getting pushed beyond its normal limits. So if you can see the disc right here, it's being pushed beyond its normal limits. Front of your vertebrae are squeezing together, pushing that disc beyond its limits, and now it's coming into contact with either your spinal cord or your nerves right here. Now, when that disc protrudes out from its normal space and it makes contact with the spinal cord or the nerves, that's where the pain generator is. That's what's signaling that pain or that tingling or numbing type feeling. And so, that's something that
So how do you fix if that happens? Like, how do you? What is it? Do you have to have surgery? Do you go to rehab? Do you like? How do you get the pain away? How do you fix it? Is it fixable?
First
Yes.
of all, you call 888-8888.
right.
That's what you do.
First thing you do is call us.
Yes.
But in terms of, what you do, every injury is different. The severity of every injury is different. So once you have your doctors and specialists and all take a look at it, they're going to go ahead and likely come up with, what their treatment program should be for you, whether it's, they think you need a little bit of physical therapy or chiropractic treatment, or if it's severe enough to where they think, a discectomy or something of that nature is the way to go.
Tell you what, backs are not anything to
Play
put
around
your
with.
nose up at because
No.
they hurt. Like people say, oh, I have back pain. I have this. That's not. I mean, you can't really function and do the normal day-to-day things whenever you have something like this, right? And so you
Right.
talk about.
I mean, look at this thing. Like, if that is what's going on in your back,
Yeah, it doesn't feel it. Yeah.
there's no way you're functioning normally.
Yeah.
That's causing you some pain.
So what happens, so this happens, right? You get in a car accident, I call you, I have this stuff going on, I go to the doctor, imaging, hey, this is what they diagnosed you with after the wreck, and then you start going to treatment and do all that stuff, and so then we go to you, and then you have to go through the whole process. Do you have to get doctors involved? Like, how does all that work?
Yeah, so, depending on the circumstances, some people will, they have their own doctors that they want to go to. If they don't necessarily have somebody in mind, there are a number of providers that we work with pretty often. We can help start that process off.
this is
At least
something
point
else
you in the right direction.
This is something I'll see pretty often.
Oh, yeah, these whiplash injuries and, disc bulges, disc herniations.
Dangerous territory there.
Ooh.
What's that? Yeah, sorry. No, these disc herniations, it's something we see fairly often.
Yeah.
It's a pretty common injury in a car accident.
If you have had this accident or if this has happened, you have a year, right, from the point of the wreck or incident.
Right. That we have that 1 year to file a lawsuit.
You have the 1 year to file the suit. So if you are in that window or if something happens to you in the future, call Keith Accardo at 225-888-8888.
Boom.
Perfect.
There it is.
We appreciate you, as always, coming in on Mondays. We'll see you next Monday after the A&M game. Talk about how they stepped on their throat,
Let's go.
how they crushed them, and how you crushed your hunting trip this week.
Oh, yeah. You can try and kill some ducks and deer this weekend. We're going for the combo.
Double whammy.
Oh, yeah.
Where y'all going?
So, going to this club that I'm in up in the Mississippi Delta on Friday. We got opening day of ducks up there, and then probably going to bounce back to Louisiana, hunt up in Madison Parish, try to kill a deer.
So you're going duck on Friday, deer on Saturday and Sunday?
That's the plan right now.
Nice. Good luck.
That's the plan. Appreciate it.
Good luck, dude.
I
Enjoy your
expect
weekend.
you-
Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Y'all
Appreciate you.
too. Thanks for having me.
I expect a voicemail this weekend if he's not going to be at the game.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have to
Oh,
give your
we'll
takes.
get a little voicemail going.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fired up. I don't like the Aggies.
Good. I want to hear it all.
I'll be fired. Hopefully, it doesn't cut
Hopefully
me
you
off.
see your boy Whitweek
Yeah.
back in the lineup this week.
I know. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. It seems like he's back healthy. That's what Brian Kelly says. You will see him this weekend.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
a lot of, we'll talk about this. A lot of rumors I hear around, but appreciate you.
All right,
Have a
y'all.
good rest of the week.
Y'all too.
Thank you, Ben.
That is Keith Carter from our team at Get Gordon. Appreciate you. Now up to bat.
Yes.
Is our
He's got a
cleanup
lot to
hitter.
say.
He's got a lot to say. Our cleanup hitter, the second best hunter in his family apparently,
Yeah.
is Coach Tommy Moffitt. It's Moffitt Method Mondays. Coach Tommy Moffitt, welcome back. You had a week off. You had a week of hunting with your son,
Yes.
Clay. He said that y'all collectively had a really good hunting trip. Y'all killed a few deer, but together,
Yeah.
right? So I guess technically he's right. But he didn't specify who killed what.
Yes.
Can you clear that up?
Yeah, I'll clear the air. So I'm the killer.
I'm admitting it. I'm the killer.
First of all, we were at a beautiful place on Lake of the Ozarks. Have y'all ever heard of Lake?
yeah.
So I was surprised. I had no idea we were going to such a nice place. It was fine. So we rented a little house on the lake. and Clay bought into this lease, and so he was telling me about all these big deer that they had on the property, and so I was jacked. So the first night I sit down. Clay was bow hunting. I was in it's called a redneck blind. It's like being in a condo at the beach. It was, they're fine.
Everything you needed.
Everything, they're fine. And so it's about 34, 35 degrees, and there are deer everywhere. There were so many deer that I couldn't keep up with them. Right. So Missouri, we each bought 1 buck tag and 2 doe tags. So that's 6 deer. That's a lot of deer. Yeah. A lot of venison. So going into the first hunt, we Clay lectured me on the rules of engagement. And the plan was to kill a buck first, get that out of the way, and then shoot 2 does, and we're on the road back to BR.
So here's my question. Had y'all done that, let's say I did it in the first 2 days, y'all coming back?
Oh, well, we'd have probably rode around the lake or something, but no reason to be there. You're tagged out. I mean, so the state of Missouri is pretty cool, though. So in the county that we were hunting, we could have bought up to 5 doe tags. And then you go to the next county, you can get maybe 3 doe tags. Oh, wow. So they sell you the doe tags based on what county you're hunting. So we could have shot 100 deer if we would have wanted to. So crazy. Yeah, it was cool. So we could have bought more doe tags, but the plan was we were both tagging out. We had we carried 3 big coolers, like we're going up there.
And after the first day, you're like, I'm getting
I didn't know what to do. I told Clay, I said, Clay, there were 3 shootable bucks in the field. There were so many deer, and they were chasing, so their rut had started. And the bucks are chasing does, and I was like, it's on. This is going to be the greatest hunt. Should have brought a camera, and so I let them walk. And then that night, I looked at the weather. I looked on my app, and it showed a warming trend. And I said, there's no way that I'm going to let that happen in the morning. Like, I'm fixing to tag out, like, first thing tomorrow morning. I'm not waiting. If it's brown, it's down. Uh-huh. And so I went to a different stand, a cool-ass stand. They called it the Sputnik. I've never seen a stand like this, but it looked like a lunar landing. Oh, wow. Whatever they called the lunar lander,
Like a spaceship
it looked like a spaceship. They called it the Sputnik. Cool, really cool. So a doe walked, big old doe. There were several does in the field, so I picked out the biggest one. Pow, shot it down. And they didn't even run. I'm shooting a suppressor on my gun, so the other deer, they didn't even run. They just stood there and looked at Salad like, what happened? And I was far away, too, so they didn't even hear my gun. And so some more deer come into the field, so I pick out the next largest doe that I see in the field. Pow, dropped it. Knocked it out. And so I tagged out on does the second day. Right. So now to my hunting partner, Clay. Clay sees a big 10-point that first night.
He got cocky. He was a bow hunter.
Bow hunting in a tree, sees a big deer. He estimated to be 170 inches or so. Couldn't get a shot off, didn't like his setup. He shoots out of a saddle for the listeners that know. So you're it's like sitting in a swing in a tree. Right. So he's in a saddle, couldn't get a good shot off, which he chose ethics over, killing, which is always good. You know, you want to have a good
challenge.
Yeah, you want to have a good, humane, ethical kill. And so he didn't send it. And then for the next 4 days, and hats off to Clay, he hunted his butt off for that deer, from tree to tree. And then the last day, he goes, Dad, give me the gun.
It was too late by then.
It was too late.
Too
And
late.
what happened is it got hot. The second afternoon, because we didn't hunt the first morning. We had to meet with the farmer. He took us around because this was both of our first time there. The farmer took us around, showed us the property. And so that first afternoon, it was like we were on a TV show,
Right.
like something you see on TV. And then from that time on, the temperature, it warmed up. It was in the 70s, just like it is here.
Wow.
So the deer laid down, it shut down. So Clay,
Empty-handed.
Yeah, now,
so y'all did kill 2.
we killed
But
2,
you
but
killed
I'm
the
the
2.
trigger man. Yeah. But great hunt, great time. The Lake of the Ozarks is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. The whole area was fine, and we're planning on going back next year. Can't wait.
Can't wait. And hopefully it's cold
Yeah,
the whole
hopefully it's much colder.
time. No doubt. Well, we missed you last Monday.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I had.
He got comfortable, Coach. He got used to leaning on you, and you weren't here.
That's it. I had my Mondays planned out. Now I had to go back to what I used to. I'm like,
Got to go back to the well.
Sorry about that.
That's
I
all
fouled
right.
off a couple pitches. I battled my ass off.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
He had opportunity to go feet on the floor, feet on the
You
hardwood.
did, which I appreciate, but you didn't have to do that. You could
Yeah.
you could have gone, but I appreciate you coming here.
I appreciate that.
Obviously, football is you're at that
Yeah.
the last little bit. So, a couple things. Obviously, I want to talk a little LSU, but I want to talk football in general. Before we get to the LSU conversation, the Michigan deal seems to have been.
It's picking up some speed.
Well,
It
I
was
thought
dead.
it stopped, and now it's doing this again.
Yeah, they fired a guy.
They fired the DC,
Yeah,
and now they.
No, they fired the linebackers coach.
I mean, linebackers coach, not
Yeah.
the DC. The linebackers coach
fired him.
gone. So that means something. It's a little bit more than probably they thought.
It's more than
Michigan
nothing.
was suing the Big Ten.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the suit gets dropped and the guy gets fired,
Yeah.
which makes it feel like, okay, maybe they found some other stuff, which makes it feel like they're going to do a little bit more investigating and figure some stuff
Not
out. You're pretty spot on with it when it happened. Hey, it's hard for me to believe that the head man doesn't know what's going on. You know.
Well, he had to have a fall guy. Linebackers
Well,
coach takes a bullet.
have you seen the movie the show Ted Lasso? Have you ever seen that on Apple TV? It's pretty funny. I think you'd enjoy it. But he had a Ted Lasso quote. Jim Harbaugh did. Did you see that? Yeah. So when you start dropping these Ted Lasso quotes, then you
Just all positivity.
Yeah, you know,
Who's got it better than us?
You're trying to move away from the
Yeah.
deal. But so that. Over the last week when you're hunting, I don't know if you're paying attention, but that happened.
Yeah, well, I paid attention to it.
They get to play Ohio State next week, undefeated for the Big Ten. No Jim Harbaugh. Do you feel like that's going to be? Do you think that's going to matter, or do you think that they're going to be able to go out there and continue to do what they did?
And
well,
if you
they look good.
right,
Yeah.
but as you as a coach, if you were only available to be whether it be a head coach, strength coach, if you're there Monday through Friday and then you don't get to be there on game
Right.
day, how does that impact kind of how you go into the week?
Well, it depends on if he's a play caller. If he's calling the shots, then it's significant. But if he's more of a CEO kind of guy, then your coordinators, they can handle that.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I thought it was odd that they let him continue to coach and only suspend him for the games. Like, I didn't.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, he's coached Michigan's 10-0.
Yeah.
He's suspended for the first 4 games of the year. Then he coached a few in the middle, and now he's
Yeah,
suspended
how
for the
about
rest.
that check? Yeah.
Yeah, so he's gone. He
Yeah.
missed the majority of the year. I think that he's going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be.
And that's what the rumor,
Yeah.
that's the rumor mill is that he's leaving to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
So, but, the only way I see it affecting him negatively if he's actively calling plays and it doesn't appear that that's the case. And if the players on the team really respect him and they love him, then they're going to play hard for him.
Yeah, right.
You know how that
It feels
is.
like that because, you saw a couple guys before the game yesterday or last week have, free Harbaugh shirts on,
Yeah.
the whole deal. So it seems like he kind of
he's got the players backing.
Right.
So they're going to play extra hard for him. They'll get after it, and it's the Ohio State game.
Right.
So, you don't need a lot of motivation when you're playing games like that. That's like LSU versus Alabama. I mean, you'd play them out there in the street if you had the opportunity to do it. So,
speaking of the LSU, so last time we talked, it was leading into Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They did what you said. They smacked the Gators. Now, gave up a bunch of yards and some points.
Yeah.
Didn't look great on defense, which has kind of been the theme all year. Then they go and they play Georgia State. They smacked them. Gave up a couple touchdowns, gave up some yards. Didn't play unbelievable on defense, played better, but obviously the competition was a little bit different. There's been a lot of conversation over the last few weeks about making some changes on the defensive side, right? Whether it be coaches not being here, whatever it is. And I'm not saying I'm the last one to say, okay, you need to fire a guy, right? But I think Brian Kelly sees that they've got to make an adjustment on the defensive side. I guess my question to you would be how, as a coach, because you weren't a defensive coordinator, you're a strength coach. Right. How, as a coach, are you able to manage the players, right? Like their mentality and their mindset in a year where there's a lot of conversation about maybe the staff going, right? Because nowadays you have to re-recruit your players every year. You have to keep the guys that you have recruited and keep recruiting the years before, like the coming years. And so if you have a guy that is on the hot seat or about to get let go or nobody knows what's going on, how as a staff do you keep everybody together?
Yeah, so if that coach, and we're talking about, whoever that guy is that's on the hot seat, if he's a good guy and the players respect him, it's just like Coach Harbaugh. They're going to play for the guy.
Yeah.
You always have those outliers that are looking for an excuse not to play hard, and those guys are going to, they're going to do what they're going to do. But for the most part, most of the teams, because when you spend as much time as collegiate athletes do with their coach, you develop relationships for them. You know their wife, you know their kids. You know all about the guy because you spend so much time together. You kind of feel bad for them, and to some degree, especially if they're a good person.
Right.
Now, I've been around, in 30-something years, I've been around a couple of guys that the players were happy to see go. Right. But they still play hard anyway because they're playing next to their friend. You're playing for the LSU Tigers, the state of Louisiana, and you have it's a big game. You have an opportunity to go to a good bowl game, and that's the thing the thing that's on the line now. It's you're going to a bad bowl or a good bowl.
Right.
So it's important that everybody plays well, and if with the portal and NIL, you're getting paid too.
Yep.
So you better put some good film.
No doubt.
It's
like the NFL at this point. Like,
yeah,
if you're on a 1-9 team, if you're on the Panthers, you better go out there every day and play your ass off because you're playing for the other 31 teams.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
not only that,
you're always
they're going to have some good. They're going to have some good
some
picks
good tape
too.
up. Yeah.
No doubt.
Because anybody can get it. But you talked a little bit about like the defense, and obviously LSU has this weird like juxtaposition of the offense is so good, the defense obviously is lacking a little bit. Whenever you're in that locker room, can you feel that some years where you're like, the offense rolls in and they've got a little bit more swagger to them because like we're dominating over here, and then it doesn't become more of like a blame game where they're like looking at them like, boys, come on, can we get one stop?
Yeah, on bad teams,
right.
Absolutely. On bad teams, and I've heard guys say, here we go again, and you want to hit them with a cooler. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, get that shit out of
here we go again.
Yeah.
You look for the toolbox or a cooler or something to whack them over the head with it. But on good teams, no, you don't. That doesn't happen on good football teams because everybody's playing for one another. But when you have selfish players on your roster, you'll hear that kind of stuff. But, those guys on offense, they know that as long as they score first and they keep scoring, like they scored their last 13 possessions.
A touchdown.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened at LSU.
Yeah,
Ever.
I don't know. That's a stat.
That happens all the time. Like not even just LSU in football in general.
Yeah,
Where every
that's a
time you
hell of a
touch it,
stat.
you're in the end zone.
Yeah, that's a hell of a stat. So the punter, the punter is as fresh as he can be right now.
18 punts all year.
Yeah, I've been on teams where the punter had to ice his hip after every game.
Yeah.
And this guy's sitting back 18 punts all season.
Frank can't find his helmet half the time. He's like, third down.
He's been punting more than he has to get loose. That's a lot of times getting loose because you ain't loose. You're not ready to go in by that time.
Yeah, so with an offense as powerful as that, fortunately for the defense, they don't have to worry about that.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing.
And the defense is, there's some guy like Ashton Stamps played this weekend at 8 tackles, looked good. Yeah. Toviano looks like he's starting to feel a little more comfortable.
Oh, they're playing,
They're flying around, they're playing, they look better right now.
As for as bad as we want to say the defense has been, even against, obviously, the way that it starts is what people remember, but they still only gave up, 14 points?
Yeah, right.
Like,
and it was, he
settled in.
Yes, for sure, right? And those young guys are going to continue. Like, that's great experience for those guys, especially in the secondary.
Yep.
Now, my next question is, there's a lot of, within LSU, there's always a lot of conversation within the recruiting, right? Frank Wilson's there. He does. You've been around Frank. Like, he is as good as they come in the recruiting category, right? Not only go and get 4 and 5 stars, but understanding that here in Louisiana, you go walk around any corner and find a 3-star athlete that is really talented, maybe just kind of got overlooked. So understands how to see these guys, understands what guys he can bring in, and knows that they can develop, right? So the reason why I bring that up is because LSU had 2 4-star cornerbacks recently just decommit and go somewhere else. I think both of them, they were kind of expected within the staff. One was in Georgia, committed to go to Georgia, and the other one ended up going where he
Kai Bates was committed to LSU. I think he's going to Florida. Let me look it up.
Anyway, they left, right? And then they go and sign these 2 3-stars from Louisiana, though. Yeah. And I get my question, and I think I know the answer, but I want everybody else to hear this, is people look at stars and sometimes they say, oh, we're downgrading. But if the staff knew these guys were probably gone and they bring in these guys to replace them, they see something in these kids from Louisiana, right? And there's something to be said about a kid from here that's super athletic but that wants to play for LSU. There's something to be said for those guys coming here and developing, right?
That's exactly right. And, we used to have a saying that if the kid grows up and has a cypress tree in his yard, he's going to play a lot harder for the Tigers than some kid that grows up someplace else. And that's important.
No doubt.
When you're from out of state, it doesn't matter where you are. You have a little different. You play for a few different reasons than from kids from the state of Louisiana. It means more. And I preferred having a roster full of Louisiana kids because it means more to those guys when you cut them open and they bleed purple and gold.
No doubt.
Versus cutting a guy open and he bleeds green. Right. And a lot of times those guys that come here now for the money or come here and they don't have that immediate success, they're looking for the easy way out and go someplace else. They start pointing fingers. But when you take a kid that's got a cypress tree in his backyard and he's from St. James or Lutcher or Destrehan or anywhere, a river rat, I'd rather a river rat than anybody any day.
Doubt.
And some of our best players that we've had on this roster in the last 20 years, you could throw a rock to where they grew up. And those are the type of kids that are going to ride and die for the Tigers versus some kid that comes from someplace.
I mean, you can count on your hand. I mean, more you can count. There's plenty of examples, right? Justin Jefferson was a 2-star. He's very well documented, right? Tyrann Mathieu, very well documented. I think Tre'Davious White was a 3-star. I think Mo Claiborne. I don't think he was super highly touted. I could be wrong.
He was a
wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right.
Moved to corner.
Like you have those guys. You had. I mean, there's so many other guys that I'm gonna miss, right?
There's so many of them, and then you have guys like I had a friend that was recruiting Kyle Williams and Kyle was actually going to go to Tennessee. I mean, we had to fight our butts off, but there were people talking about Kyle Williams playing center in college, and Kyle Williams comes here and plays tackle for us, and plays 13 years in the NFL,
right.
And there were people that were recruiting him to play center at some other school. And so it just means more to the guys from Louisiana. And they work harder, they do better in school, they do better socially, they can go home whenever they want to so they don't get homesick. It's just a better situation all the way around.
I mean, can you tell whenever there's I specifically point to like the conditioning because of the weather whenever you're getting ready in the preseason, because it was well documented with, I mean, Deuce Chestnut, he's still with the team, but he comes up from New York and he comes down here and he's like, I can't deal with this weather. Like he kept like making jokes about it, but he was like, it's hotter down here.
Yeah.
Like, can you tell when you get a Louisiana guy that can kind of do it a little bit easier?
Yeah. So, we had the 20th reunion for the 03 national championship team. And you would not believe the number of guys who talked about their first day here as an LSU Tiger, because that predated early enrollees. No one came in January and got acclimated as the seasons changed. The guys showed up in June, the first week in June. And it's balling out there. And so, yes, there's a big difference in the guys that come from the northern states, even from as far north as Tennessee. And, the guys that we recruited, Jacoby Stevens and Jacob Phillips, those two guys struggled a little bit when they first got here because of the change in the temperature. So, yeah, it makes a big difference. Makes a big one.
You talked, before we got into the weather, you talked about how guys from Louisiana or guys that want to be here, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't take the easy way out. They don't want to transfer. They want to be here and they stick it out. And we've hit on this before, but I think now the season's coming to an end, right? This is about to be free agency now in football, in college football, which is crazy to say, but that's just the way it is. Mike Elko, coach at Duke, came out today and said that same thing. Like, over the next 13 days, you're going to see the Wild West here in the portal. And I know some people say, well, that's just the way it is now. You got to adapt and you got to deal with it. That's just football. I understand it, but it doesn't mean that you have to like it, right? It doesn't mean you have to even really accept it. You have to do what you need to do. But as an athlete and as a coach and as being around guys who have been in the situation of like, hey, I'm not playing and I'm just going to leave and transfer, like seeing guys that don't do that and stick it out end up having these long careers and end up being some of the best memories of their life the next 2 years. Like, how important is it for the development of an athlete, not just here at LSU, anywhere, to be able to say, okay, listen, I'm not starting right now as a freshman or getting the playing time that I want. I need to do this, this, and this to get back on the field or get on the field and earn my spot. What is that? How is that as far as developing an athlete? Like, how important is that for them?
Well, and I think I said this once before, in the book titled The Road Less Traveled, the first sentence in the book is life's not fair, and the grass isn't greener on the other side either. It takes, for some guys, there are elite players that we have recruited that have instant success. But it takes a lot of long-term, both physical, technical, and tactical development over years for guys sometimes to be successful. it takes a while for some guys to learn the playbook. And then it takes some time for those young men and young women, regardless of what sport it is, to develop the confidence that they need to go out and play in front of 10,000 in an arena or 100,000 in a stadium. And they can possess all of the athleticism, the speed, all the measurables. But if they're not confident, if they're not confident in their ability, if they're not confident in the X and O's, it just takes a longer time.
Right.
And changing uniform colors doesn't make it any easier. And unfortunately for kids, sometimes in a world where they value immediate self-gratification over investing hours and hours and hours of effort into their craft and honing their skills, it's tough. My favorite Abe Lincoln quote is, if I was, and I'm going to paraphrase, I'm going to screw it up, but if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend 5 sharpening my axe. And I've screwed that up. But y'all have heard that before.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the axe and start whacking at the tree. It's yes.
Isn't that what he got in trouble for?
Oh, yeah, chopping down the cherry tree. Yeah, it might not have been Abe Lincoln who said it. But yeah, it takes time to develop. And then you change schemes. Right when you're starting to grasp one scheme, it changes. And that's why I am so proud of Charles Turner.
Yeah.
Because Charles waited his time, and Charles has played well, and Charles is going to make it to the next level. Charles could have left his first year here.
Yeah.
And I have a great deal of respect for Charles for doing what was right and sticking it out and taking the hard road and doing the extra work and gaining the weight and getting stronger in the weight room and playing well for the Tigers.
So Micah Baskerville was pretty good for LSU, right? Patrick Queen, pretty good. Damone Clark,
Deion Jones, Damone Clark,
those are pretty good.
Alexander.
Those are Quan. Pretty good players.
Yeah.
Did they start as freshmen? They started as sophomores?
No. So
Benny
Logan, Tyson Jackson, there's
Matt Flynn.
Yeah, Matt Flynn. There's so many
Brian
guys.
Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas didn't. This is his first year starting as
Justin Jefferson.
Crazy what happens whenever you say, you know what, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to be here and I want to be here. Most of those guys that you mentioned from here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, they're Louisiana kids, yeah. Tyson Jackson's right down the road.
So, my point is, grass isn't always greener. And if you want to be here, and this is a place where you feel like you can play, then why would you not put all the energy that you have into becoming that player that you think that you can be? And whether it be, look, some of these receivers are probably mad they haven't played. Hey, you got 2 first-rounders on the outside, and that's just what happens here.
Yeah.
Right?
Unbelievable talented guys. And there's going to be players like that no matter where they go.
And that's the thing. It's it's not always green. You go over there and maybe you don't catch on to their scheme, or maybe they get this freshman who is a unicorn, and we didn't have him last year. Now you're a depth piece where you probably could be playing in where you were before, right? And so, to me, it's just an easy way out. There's certain circumstances where I'm okay with you transferring, right?
Yeah.
But if it's just because you're not happy with the playing time as a freshman, to me that's just a cop out, and that's hey, you know what? Why don't I just go work and become that guy to play?
Yep.
And so that's, to me, I can't get on board with that.
Yeah, and as a strength coach, guys used to come to us and tell us that they were unhappy, and because they're not playing, and our entire role was in development, and it was always hard for me as a strength and conditioning coach to sit and listen to someone that isn't giving all of their effort in training.
Right.
That they're not giving all of their effort in academics. And a lot of times Coaches don't play those guys that they can't trust either. If they can't trust you to go to class and to be eligible and to do the right thing, you're not going to play. And that behavior doesn't change, again, when you change the color of the uniform.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it. But
No
it's tough for a guy sometimes to look in the mirror and say, I'm not doing what I need to do in order for me to play. It's a lot easier to place the blame on someone else.
100%.
I was going to say, whenever you have a season the way LSU is, and you have somebody going up for, I guess, the most prestigious world, like the award in college sports, I'd say the Heisman Trophy, even if the season isn't going the way that maybe you're not playing for national goals, right? Like you want to play for 10 wins, win your bowl game, but whenever you look at the regular season, you have a guy like Jayden Daniels who wasn't from Louisiana, is a transfer, but you talk about getting better from year one to year two in the program. I think that means that I would imagine that means a little bit more to them now. It's kind of ingratiated as a Louisianian now because you saw it happen with Burrow as well.
Yeah, and then you also have a possible Biletnikoff Award winner.
Two of them.
Two finalists of the 10.
And they're up for the Joe Moore Award, which is the offensive line.
Yeah, the offensive line award. So
I know you love that one because you're an offensive line guy.
Yeah.
And the offensive line this season started a little shaky, and then they ended up,
yeah.
And look, they are very talented. I think majority of those guys are going to play in the NFL. It also helps when you have a quarterback that understands the offense and can, like Joe Burrow, the year before, offensive line was good, not great. He comes in, understands it, because it's hard as an offensive lineman to block a guy for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you have a guy getting the ball out in 2.5 seconds, less than 3 seconds.
Make you look good.
Of course. This is the job that I'm supposed to be doing.
They complement each other.
Yeah, right, 100%. And I think that's been a credit because I think the offensive line was something that a lot of people were excited about.
Yeah.
And in the first couple games, they felt like, oh, maybe they're not. And you know how it is. It takes a little time to get some chemistry, kind of get your feet underneath you, and then they've taken
And
off.
they're still young, really.
Yeah.
The core of the offensive line is pretty young, so those guys are going to continue to get better. Coach is going to continue to recruit great offensive linemen in that
You got another
position.
5-star coming in.
Yeah.
So they have one last year. They have another one coming in this year. By the time this one, they're going to have 4 5-stars on their offensive line.
Yeah, there's a
next year.
chance they could start 4 5-stars on the offensive line next year.
It's amazing.
That's been pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That was one of the hardest positions to recruit.
Yeah,
so that's pretty impressive.
we missed on guys. They're doing a really good job, man, recruiting that position. Really good.
Let's fast forward to this weekend. Obviously, it's the last game of the season. They gave us the 11 a.m. game. I think that's Jimbo Fisher's fault, I believe. Had he not gotten fired, I think it would have been a 2:30 or a
Especially
night game.
with everything going into it, whenever you have LSU season was pretty much derailed by A&M last year.
Yep, right. So I just feel like that would have been a night game. It's not. It's 11 o'clock game. Big game for LSU. Obviously, you have Heisman contender, which I think this game is going to either make or break his Heisman. You have the Biletnikoff winners. You have, obviously, all the individual awards. But you also have LSU going out there making a statement, going 9-3 in the regular season. They're ranked 14th in the country. Who says something doesn't happen? They end up going into championship weekend ranked 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and maybe sneak back into the top 10 before the bowl game, have a 10-win season. So it means a lot going into the next year recruiting. What do you want to see from the guys this weekend? Obviously, I feel like at this point, the defense is what it is. You want them to play hard, but they're not going to be perfect, and the offense is going to do what they want to do. What do you want to see?
Yeah, first thing, it's an early game. There isn't a chance to go to the SEC championship on the line, so you want to make sure that the guys start fast. That's critical. They've got to get up. They got to get, as soon as their feet hit the ground, they got to be pissed off and ready to play hard. They got to play mistake-free. And sometimes when you're not really dialed in, you tend to make more mistakes. You have penalties. You turn the ball over. You got to play perfect. And so, if you're ranked, once they go to the playoff, so technically they could be playing for a playoff spot.
Next year?
Next year.
Right.
Okay? So that's the mentality that you want to preach to your team now. You want to use that as fuel and say, technically, guys, you're playing for a playoff spot next year. So you want to be the team today that you want to be next year. Now, of course, we want to be better than 9-3 next year. We want to be, in the top 4,
Right.
But you're technically playing for a playoff spot. You're out of the race in the SEC, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to make the playoffs. And you want to go out there, start fast, play mistake-free, make effort plays on defense, still chase the ball to the numbers, chasing the ball to the sideline, making plays.
And you want to send off your seniors the right
senior
way.
night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Senior
That's
day.
a big, or senior day.
Yeah, big day for the Tigers.
As a strength coach, right? 11 a.m. We've talked about what goes into 11 a.m. games on the road. Obviously, there's 11 a.m. game here. Not only is it an 11 a.m. game, it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
So how, as a strength coach, and it's going to be a little chillier, it's going to get colder, like during the middle of the week.
Yeah, it never gets cold here.
No, you're right. You're right. It doesn't get freezing, but
I guess it's relative.
As a strength coach, as somebody who's in charge of keeping these guys right, physically, condition-wise, what goes into a week like this where it's going to be an early week? You're coming off of, it's a normal weekday, but you have 11 o'clock game, plus it's Thanksgiving week, so you got a little bit more noise around you. How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, so you start talking, that's something you start on Monday, or it depends on whatever the first day of the week. For me, most of my career, it was on Sunday. So it starts Sunday, or if Monday's the first day, you start on Monday. You start preaching that message the first opportunity you get. You try to find something that's going to motivate them. You talk about last year's game. You talk about setting an example. You talk about making the playoffs. Making the playoffs. So you set the stage early in the week, and then each day that you have contact with them, you're preaching that, and it is a department-wide message. So everybody on your staff, whatever that message is that you decide on, and a lot of times the head coach will come down and say, hey, I want to make sure that we stress these points right here. And then sometimes the head coach would leave it up to our staff. But you force that message throughout the entire week. You make sure that everyone is on the same page. And then you'll see those guys that you don't think are dialed in, and sometimes it's the same guys every week after week. And you check those guys early and often to make sure that they're dialed in. And then you have to watch out for Thanksgiving. Now, luckily, they're not playing on Fridays. So we used to always play on Friday. Yep. And those guys would smash in turkey and dressing on Thursday. And you're worried about somebody's stomach.
Get on the scale. Get off the scale.
Yeah. But playing on Saturday, that makes it a little more less likely that somebody's going to show up to the game with bubble guts or something. But you want to make sure that you stress. Don't overeat. And act like this is a regular week. Enjoy the turkey, enjoy the dressing, enjoy a slice of pie, but understand that we've got a game on Saturday, and you got to continue to push the hydration. And with me, systematically, and it's hard to believe, but we never tried to make a big deal out of any particular game more than we did the last game. Even though it's Texas A&M and it's a border war, you know, there's guys from Louisiana, and then you have guys on your roster from Texas. Yep. So there's a lot of interplay there that you could reach to motivate the players. But again, it's still a regular game. For me personally, I was always looking at the health. Because if you're not playing in the championship game, then you start, setting your eyes toward bowl preparation. Yep. So for me, the message to my staff and all, we're preparing for the game. But me, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about bowl preparation. I've already, because we planned out the entire season in advance, but you're looking at all your data. You're looking at the injury report. You're looking at guys that have been on ice for a couple of weeks, and you're trying to figure out what has to be done for over the next 3 weeks to prepare for the bowl game.
Right.
And when you're going to play, where you're going to play, and the type of preparation that goes into it as well. So although you have a big game coming up, you also have to be thinking about the bowl game as well. So it was kind of two-sided.
Do they let them go home? I would imagine if you live in Louisiana, maybe you get to go home on Thursday for Thanksgiving, or do they do like a team deal where they eat dinner together?
Yeah, every coach is different. So a lot of times the coaches would have the players over on Wednesday, and then you'd have a later practice on Thursday, or you would have an early practice on Thursday, and then they could run home. And then the coaches, so if you didn't eat with your coach on Wednesday night, you would eat with your coach on Thursday afternoon, your position coach.
Right.
So it just depends. And every head coach and every assistant coach would do it differently. Most of the local kids would all go home.
Yeah.
And it was pretty neat. With cell phones, it's a lot easier today. They had to report to their position coach when they got home, and then they had to report to their position coach when they were leaving, because especially for an away game, you don't want a guy missing, the plane or something. So, you got to get back on Friday. If you do go home, you got to make sure that your butt gets back on Friday before the team meeting.
Yeah.
So but being it's a home game, it's not that big of a deal, because the team meeting's not until around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. You mentioned nutrition. I think that's a good segue. You're talking about, eating some pie, some turkey,
lots of
some
pie.
stuffing, tryptophan, take some naps, watch football, all the stuff.
Back to the turkey.
Back to the turkey, and then you get some leftovers. The
Turkey sandwich.
Yep, that's the thing. The sandwich with the mayo and the turkey and the bread at about 7:30 after you
don't need it.
Yeah.
You're not really hungry, but you're kind of bored and you're kind of hungry, and you make the sandwich. That's the kicker for me specifically. But with all of that, right, the Moffitt Method is more important than ever.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have all these things. You can treat yourself, but you also want to have a routine after the fact to say, okay, listen, I had this one day. Let me get back on track. Let me get healthy. Let me go work out. Let me go and burn these calories that I just ate off, right? So it's the perfect time. The holidays, I will argue, is a perfect time to start the Moffitt Method, because then you don't feel as guilty about eating as
wishful
much food.
thinking for a lot of people.
We had a text conversation, me and you, about, hey, I'm ready to start. You were gone. Now that you're back, I am full blow and ready to go.
Good.
So we need to have a conversation about.
I need your contact. Yeah, I was going to text you today, but I was getting caught back up.
I'm gonna do it.
Send me your email address.
Okay, I will do that. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna
Or
do a
send
whole
an email
before and after.
to-
I'm not posting it, but for my own personal benefit, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, why don't you give your email address and phone number
To everybody.
over here?
Yeah. Get everybody. That's what I want.
Or
You know
just
my
do it.
social too.
MoffittMethod.fit.
The MoffittMethod.fit.
So here's the funny thing, and I'm trying to keep from laughing, and you said the extra mayo. You're a mayonnaise guy, huh?
I like a little mayo.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Football
Yeah.
player, O-linemen love mayonnaise.
Yeah, the problem is I wasn't an O-lineman, so I have to
Yeah.
be careful with that. I have to be careful.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
to get to the turkey, it's a little
Yeah,
dry,
so-
so you got to lube it up a little bit.
That's it.
I even, I've already figured out my strategy, because now normally as a family, we would have Thanksgiving on Wednesday night.
Oh, wow.
Because we would always go to New Orleans to Jill's parents. But there's and I'm not for sure what the reason is, but we have switched our Thanksgiving in the Moffitt household to Friday afternoon.
I kind of like that too.
Yeah, and then we're all going to see the Catholic High John Curtis rematch from last year.
In the Dome?
So,
I kind of want to
no,
go see. I kind of want to go to high school.
here
football game.
Memorial.
Oh.
They're Curtis and Catholic are playing. See, Curtis beat Catholic last year at Memorial.
This is the playoffs or no? This
Yeah,
is the
they're-
playoffs.
oh yeah.
This is the playoffs.
So we're going to have Thanksgiving Friday, and then we're going to a Catholic game, and then so for me, I've got Thursday in New Orleans with Jill's family, Friday at our house, and then Saturday, guys, I got a suite I got a sweet
You're in
ticket.
there. I'll be up there. I'm gonna come and see you.
You're not going to be where I'm at.
Okay. This
No,
guy's
I'm
the
just kidding.
presidency.
Yeah.
The presidency's got the skybox.
So I'm fired up. So, yes, you have to be careful. Now, here's what I recommend. All right. So you got to have a cheat day.
Yep.
So Thursday is going to be my cheat day because we're going to be in New Orleans and everybody brings stuff. Friday, I'm going to eat light, but I'm going to fast until noon on Saturday during the game.
Wow. So you're not going to eat till the second
noon.
quarter.
Yes. Wow. I'm big, and you know, I never bought into intermittent fasting, and I still don't fast every day.
Right.
But if I get out of line, then I fast until noon the next day. And I'm telling you now, it's been amazing. I don't know if I have the discipline required to fast every day or the desire, because I'm not heavy. But just by doing that, I weigh the same thing today that I weighed when I graduated from high school.
Wow.
So imagine that. I'm 60 years old. I weigh the exact same thing that I did when I graduated from high school. Yeah.
That's impressive.
And the only thing that I've changed is I fast until noon on days where I neglected my nutrition the night before, where I was a bad kid. And it's been phenomenal. So now you're on this thing. You said sign up for the Moffitt Method. So the Moffitt Method would be a great Christmas gift, a great early Christmas gift for anyone, whether you're parents and you want to get it for your son or daughter, or if you're an adult and you know that you're going to be a BK Randy during the holidays and put on 10 or 12 extra pounds, go on and get the Moffitt Method and start now.
Don't wait till the 1st of January.
Right. Now, I'm sure we've all been to the hunting camp once or twice, right?
I was there this weekend.
Yeah. And you eat like Clay and I.
I did the cooking too, and I know there was some butter in there.
Yeah, extra butter, extra mayonnaise.
Gotta taste it.
Clay and I, before our trip, we cooked all of our meals here in Baton Rouge, and we vacuum sealed them and took it up there. And there was, our party was short a couple of people. So Clay and I we cooked a lot of food, because we thought there were going to be a couple more people there with us that backed out right at the last minute. So Clay and I ate a lot. But now we were walking and, hunting. And so I stepped on the scales today, and I was right where I had to be. We got back at 2 a.m. I took him to his house. By the time I got to my house and got unpacked, showered, in bed, it was 3 a.m. I got up at 9. First thing I did is went for a walk.
There you go.
Get moving.
Yeah.
Get moving.
I got moving.
Get moving.
Went for a walk.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's important. And a lot of people think that, I'm eating healthy, and that's great. But eating healthy is also not great.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't. Whether you take in calories through carbohydrates, fats, or protein, if it's in excess of what your body needs to maintain homeostasis or your basal metabolic rate, there's a lot of different things. But whether you eat protein, carbs, or fat in excess of what your body requires, it unfortunately is stored as fat.
Yep.
Every time.
No doubt.
It's like cutting up firewood. If you cut firewood and you stack it up and you don't ever start a fire to burn that firewood, that's the same thing when you eat turkey sandwich at 7 p.m. with the extra mayo. You could put all the lettuce and tomatoes on there you want to make it healthy. It's still too many calories.
Yep, no doubt. Keep that in mind when you're in this holiday season.
Yeah.
Also keep in mind that, yes, the Moffitt Method .fit.
Yes.
Perfect holiday gift. If you're a wife listening and you feel like your husband maybe gained a few pounds and you want to subtly, hey, I was listening to Coach Tommy Moffitt on Mik'd,
LSU legend.
and he does it, and Mikey does it, and Lloyd does it, and everybody's doing this. I think this would be really good for you. Maybe you could join the Moffitt Method Club.
Yes.
And you can just, maybe frame it that way to where
It's not an insult.
It's not an insult. So
No, I mean, it's actually, you get to train with the former LSU strength and conditioning coach, 3 national championships, some of the greatest players that have ever thrown on a purple and gold jersey train with us. So
No doubt.
that's great motivation to say that I am currently working out with the same guy that trained Justin Jefferson or Kyle Williams or Andrew Whitworth.
or Patrick Peterson
Or-
or Tyrann
yeah.
Matthew or LaRon Landry or any of those guys.
On and on and on. And it's not far, whether it's Body by Moffitt it's not far from what we did as the LSU football team. And there's a lot of similarities in what we do. Not the running. Well, for the athletes, the running is very similar. But
Because that's my biggest thing is I want to get back. I don't ever want to feel like I have stopped training. I don't want to go work out. I want to train.
Right, train.
I enjoyed the training part of it, and I want to feel like I'm still training. So
And that's the benefit
I'm gonna get on
of
it.
it.
That's the benefit. I'm ready. I told Clay I'm gonna start working out with him at 6 o'clock in the morning with him.
Oh, really?
6:30 or whatever. Whenever he goes to work out, I think he goes to I don't know whatever gym he goes to. I'm gonna work out with him.
Yeah, he would be a good one to train with.
Yeah.
He trains hard. Yeah, so that's good.
That's it. I'm looking
Fired
forward to
up.
it. I'm fired up too. I'm gonna
Yeah,
send
you got to send me your contact.
email address.
Yeah,
I'll give you
email
all the
address
stuff.
email address is all we need.
I'll send you a text. I appreciate it.
You're
Happy
very
Thanksgiving. Enjoy your week. I'm glad y'all are back. I'm glad y'all made it back from hunting safe and sound. I'm glad you got to kill the deer. Look, if you're up and giving a couple some venison sausage,
some hamburger, ground meat.
I'm look out. If you don't have enough freezer space, I'll take some off your hands.
So it's early in hunting season, and I've killed 3 deer. Let it be known, I've killed 3.
Wow.
1 locally, 2 in Missouri. Clay has killed none.
No, he told me he's taking me hunting with him to go deer hunting.
Yeah,
I love deer hunting.
Now Clay smashed the ducks though.
Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you. So I dropped Clay off at 2. He got up the next morning and went duck hunting.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. He drove the whole way home too. He would not let me drive. I was the co-pilot, got us lost once.
Well, I'm glad you're because listen, I am the worst with directions. So.
Yeah. I got him lost once, but he drove the entire way there. He drove the entire way home. Got up the next morning and went duck hunting.
Wow, where'd he go?
You know what? That's a good question. I think I don't even know.
Couldn't have been that far if you woke up.
I don't know. I would say somewhere probably, I'm guessing around Whiskey Bay, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think there's a little honey hole there with some greenheads in it. Now, I did not get a report if they killed a bunch of birds.
I went duck hunting this past weekend. We killed some birds.
Y'all killed them?
Yeah, we're in down in Dularge though.
Yeah. I don't know where he went, but I know he went with some guys because he was talking on the phone. I said, what are y'all talking about? He goes, we're going hunting anymore. I was like, what? So I don't even know if he went to sleep.
Wow.
But he did. Yeah, he's
That's
a
dedication. All right, for those of you that were looking for it, the MoffittMethod.fit.
Or info at the MoffittMethod.fit.
Or info at the MoffittMethod.fit. Don't be scared. Go and do it.
Yeah.
Have a consultation. Talk about what your goals are, what you want to do. Coach Tommy Moffitt and his team will draw up a plan for you, tailor it towards you and towards your goals, and you follow it and you do the things that he says. I can promise you and guarantee it. I've done it. He put our programs together when I was at LSU. I went through them. I'm about to go through them again. We can all be in this journey together. MoffittMethod.fit or info at the MoffittMethod.fit. As always, I appreciate you coming on the show.
pleasure.
I don't know where Lloyd went. So
I think he quit.
I think he quit on the show. So we're just going to have a conversation until he comes back because I don't know. I can't hold the show by myself.
No, I'm good. Let's talk about part of the Moffitt Method that the running, and here's something that young men and women can do during this break is spend time working on their sprint speed. And we are offering a special on our 6-week sprint-based program. It would be an excellent gift for any athlete. It doesn't matter if it's tennis, volleyball, basketball. It is a pure sprint-based program. We've had great success in our sales of this program. The people who are doing it love it. And it's also because there's no lifting involved. It's just sprinting. You can still continue to do the lifting at your school, or you can lift with mom or dad, or continue lifting at home in the garage, or not lift at all. And I promise you're going to see some phenomenal results from that.
And then you have a special going on with this,
Yes,
you said, right?
We have a special. All you have to do is go to our website, go to the Contact Us form, fill that out, and say in there that you want our 6-week running program, and we'll call you immediately.
6 weeks is about, what is it, the 20th? That's almost,
Yeah.
that gets you to right about January 1st.
Yeah, right when school starts.
And that's,
right
you
when
want a
start
goal, if you want to set goals, right? You want to set timetables for your goals. Everybody likes to set the January 1 goal, or hey, when the new year happens, I'm going to do this. Why not go into the new year, into the next round of sports, into school, and say, hey, this is what I did during the break, and show up and show your teammates and say, hey, I'm faster than you now because of these 6 weeks that I had to go through.
Show up the first day. Your first impression is you run an all-time PR in the 40-yard dash.
Yep.
Hey, look who showed up.
He's back. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I think
you okay? You're a little sick?
Yeah, I had a protein shake, and I did not check the date on it, and it just came up.
Yeah.
So, had to, that's how you do it, Coach. You go.
First time you threw up on the show, on my show.
Yeah, you rally. You go.
Puke and rally.
Puke and
Look at
rally, and you
this
come
guy,
back.
man.
Yeah, it's how to
Well,
get rid of it.
I think what happened was you talked about losing weight.
Maybe I'll just get ahead of it now. This is one way to start.
Hey, guy's a gamer, man.
That's
gamer.
right.
He's look.
Let's go pull the trigger.
That's one thing. He is. I know I can count him. He'll come in here sick, rain, shine. He may be late sometimes, but he'll be here.
He'll be here.
He'll be here.
That was not fun.
Coach,
Sorry, Anthony.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you,
guys.
Absolutely.
Enjoy your
man.
Thanksgiving. Enjoy your
Y'all
week.
too.
I'll see you on Saturday. Maybe.
Yep.
I don't know. He's gonna be something.
I'm
He's
a
gonna
Weezer.
be at some
I'm a
place I've
Weezer
never
on my
even
way up
heard
there
of.
Somehow, wherever he's at.
I'll wave down.
that's
Hey,
it.
y'all
wave
leave the
down.
trash up when you leave, okay?
See ya.
Guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
We
that
had to
was
filibuster a
brutal.
little bit. I didn't know where you're at. I thought you went out the back door and just left.
No, I figured you could tell by the way I was like over here just staring. I was like, I'm not gonna throw up.
Yeah,
right
you didn't
now.
say much.
No.
You feel better now?
Yeah.
You think it's done?
I hope so because
I hope
that was
so,
like
too.
the third time.
Today.
Just like that's why I kept leaving.
You've thrown 3 times on the show?
Yeah, I just had to go sneak them out, and that time it was like, no, that's really coming.
Wow.
So I don't.
You're
feel
a quiet
great.
thrower upper.
Yeah. Well, I've done it a lot,
I'm
fraternity.
not a quiet.
No,
if I
you-
did it, everybody
The
in the
walls
street
would
hear me.
shake.
Yeah.
So I tried.
My
to
wife
keep
says I'm dramatic with it, but I'm not trying to be. It's just
hey, this is how it's got to get out.
I have a very. My voice carries my.
When's the last time you threw up?
I don't throw up often.
Yeah, I don't think.
can't
See,
tell you.
I can do it. I'm the little guy.
I can
So
tell.
it's
I
just
can't
a
tell you
little.
last time I threw up.
Oh,
Not good.
yeah, that
Not
wasn't
good.
fun. So if you want to wrap it up, that'd be great, just for my sake.
Yeah. I will. Let's.
'Cause I don't know if it's done, but it was a little chocolate protein shake that
So you don't want to talk anymore.
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay,
it's for the good of the show.
You want to do the segments?
I think that would be the mistake of the day.
Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
And we have a mistake of the day. Just got to find it. Give me 1 second. Okay. My
Boy.
mistake of the day. Oh, no. Curtain call first, because that's what I have pulled up. Curtain call. We've obviously have had a lot of talk about the Biletnikoff. And somebody who has won the award has weighed in, and it is their very own Jamar Chase, who has put his hat in the ring for Malik Nabers. He posted it on Instagram.
I love that, and I would hope that if he is putting his hat in the ring for somebody else, that probably wouldn't be a good look.
Right.
But yes, curtain call, because someone who's won it, who understands numbers, understands what it is to play that receiver position at a high level. LSU is quickly turning into wide receiver U. I mean, that is.
Well, but the thing is, you'd like to marry the two, right? You'd love to have
everything.
Some sort of. Well, it's just they went so far from the other side of the spectrum where it was DBU for so long. Now it was always a tinge of wide receiver U, but you didn't really utilize it as well as you could have.
Right.
And then it became, well, they're just too good to ignore after the 2019 year. But you still had Odell and Jarvis, and you had the year with Mettenberger where they were like, he threw for 3,000, he had 2 1,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard rusher, and that's the year you didn't have defense, which reminds me a little bit of this year when you have, I mean, you could legitimately.
I even think that defense is better than this defense, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like this is
historically bad.
And it feels like like I said, it's not as bad as I think people want to make it out to be just because the offense is so good. And so you just look at the other side, especially when you get into a dogfight with Georgia State, or it's 14-14, you're just like, there's no way this is gonna. Like,
I'm gonna be honest. When it was 14-14, I was actually excited. I was like, "Oh, this is
Me
good
too.
for the offense," because now I know Jayden's definitely gonna be in the game.
Good for the Heisman.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but then I was like, I wanted it to be, I guess, not competitive, but at least a fun game where people would stick around because people showed up. Because we were talking about this at the tailgate, where it was, I want to go into the game because I want to see Jayden Daniels play one more time. You know,
no doubt.
Like that, it's an actual draw as opposed to. Usually when I think of LSU football, it's competitive. You want to see them just win because you're playing for something big, usually a playoff spot or the SEC. All that's out the window. But people still showed up because I think they want to see the Jayden Daniels show. It's worth the price of admission.
No doubt.
Even at LSU.
No doubt. And that's that's a very good point. Is because look, my wife, early games are tough, and I'm like, look, I am going to that game because, like you said, it is the last time we're going to watch Jayden Daniels play football.
Yeah.
And
at
so
home. Like if you could go to the bowl game if you want or whatever, but it's your last time to see him strap it up in purple and gold, a rivalry game that you lost last year. And it could potentially cement himself as a Heisman winner, which will be
It'll be our second Heisman winner at LSU.
Just missed the Billy Cannon.
Just missed it. Yeah, you're just born just a little bit too late.
But I think that's worth it in itself.
No doubt. And yeah, look, it's worth it because if you want to go and support the guys, this is the game to go and support them because it's the last game of the year. You have a lot of things still on the table for these guys individually. Go and support them. I agree with you. My curtain call. Our curtain calls are brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. We forgot to say that, and me. My curtain call is to my good friend, Aaron Nola. Most humble person, one of the most humble human beings I've ever met. Had a nice deal with Philadelphia. Has had a really good career with the Phillies. Is a free agent. Did not get an extension done before the season. Rumors were the numbers in the years that he was asking for were a lot, and the Phillies, they couldn't come to an agreement. So everybody thought that Aaron was going to test the waters and see what other teams were going to offer. And he announced, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he has agreed to a 7-year deal.
How old is he right now?
He is 31. 31. He's agreed to a 7-year deal worth $175 million with the Phillies.
I had a feeling he was going to stay in Philly because that's the kind of person he is. But that's a number.
Yeah, he said he's comfortable there. He wants to win a World Series. He knows they have the team to do it. 7 years, 175.
What do you think he would have gotten before the year?
I think he was looking for. It was the years, I think, more than the number. And like obviously, if you got it based off of the, annual AAV is what they call it, annual average value. 7 years, 75. That's a lot. I don't know how much that is, but it's a lot.
Feels like he's going to retire Philly.
Oh yeah. So 7 years for 30 would have been 210, right?
So 7 for like 25.
25 or something like that. Yeah. So he's going to retire Philly. He's made a lot of money. Congratulations to him. That's my curtain call. Do we have a mistake of the day?
We do.
Are you the mistake of the day?
I feel like I'm the mistake of the day, but I also had one lined up because there was a.
And just for the record, I was prepared to go until 8 today.
I know. This is my fault.
Just prepared.
But I I don't know if this is.
Nope.
I don't know if this is all the way
I can
over.
I can see in your face that you feel like it's probably going to happen again.
Yeah.
So let's get through this.
Mistake of the day brought to you by
Dozy Place.
Dozy Place, where I feel like I'll be able to have after this because I have to have nothing in my body right now. A University of Miami student from Darien is facing federal charges after prosecutors alleged he conducted a $3.5 million fraud against multinational shipping and supply chain management. Matthew Bergwall was charged under indictment with conspiracy to commit computer and mail fraud. And so he's just been running around Dubai with, like, obviously he's been bringing some women around with him, and he's, like, spending through all this money, and it's all wire fraud, mail
not
fraud.
his money.
No, and he's facing 45 years in prison.
Boy, that's tough.
You live in
And
high.
there's no going to court and telling the judge, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You knew exactly
I just
what
didn't
you were
want
doing.
to get caught.
Yeah, that's tough. That's bad.
But a $41,000 Rolex.
Yep.
Up to shoe game, though. $80 pair of Reeboks.
How many?
$80 pair of Reeboks.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go, vintage.
So,
Vintage.
mistake of the day is just,
Poor guy.
hey,
Tough guy.
You go
Be
from
smarter.
college in Miami was probably pretty fun.
Yeah.
Dubai,
Not so much.
not so much fun.
Not so much.
45 years in prison is going to be a little different.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. That's tough. Won't be a good Thanksgiving for him.
No.
I hope everybody does have a good Thanksgiving. I appreciate you for tuning in. I know this show is a little bit, we bebopped around. We want to thank, obviously, Coach Tommy Moffitt for the Moffitt Method. Accardo came in. This is the Monday of Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a safe travel to their families if they're traveling. Enjoy the food, enjoy the family, enjoy the football. And we will not have shows on Wednesday or Friday, obviously.
We'll put some
Thanksgiving
clips
week.
out.
Yeah, we're going to have
You'll still
content,
get
obviously.
content.
And follow our Twitter. We're going to have a lot out there talking about what's going on in sports. We're going to put out some clips. But enjoy your Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We will be back live in studio next Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate all the support. If you can't watch us, you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods. We'll be back next week.
Sorry.
Enjoy your week. Enjoy Thanksgiving.
Peace.